Hey, my name is Stephen Beaver, and I am taking the teacher introduction course at Catawba, and I am doing a speech for my final presentation for my exam. So, what our speech is about is going to be kind of an overview of the class and what we've learned. So, to get things started, one of the questions was asked is my life goals. I guess the reason I'm taking this class kind of fits into my life goals a little bit. Growing up, I watched like Bill Nye the Science Guy and Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I just see the roles they had on people. Don't forget, Steve Irwin is another big inspiration of mine. I'm absolutely fascinated with animals. That's why I love science. Um, so my life goals, I guess, pertaining to teaching is I want to be a science teacher, and I hope that someday I can have as big as impact as they had in my life. Just to see a light bulb turn on, or just to teach a kid something they didn't know, and just to be that guiding inspiration for them. So, taking this class, I thought I knew a lot about teaching. Come to find out that a lot I didn't know, of course. Surprise, surprise. But, so, according to the North Carolina Professional Teaching Standard website, there's 6 characteristics to be an effective teacher. And I actually agree with all of these. I feel like that these are 6 strong characteristics that every teacher should have and should display. One being leadership. A teacher is the leader in their classroom, and a group can only be as strong as its leader. So, having a good leadership quality in the classroom is something that every teacher should demonstrate. And to go along with that, a good learning environment for everyone, not just a single type of student or a single type of learning style, but creating a learning environment for a diverse population is very key to having a good classroom, and that's something that I'm gonna take note of. I'm gonna have to. I know I'm a more hands-on person, but there's some people who get more information from textbooks and things of that nature. So I'm gonna have to learn how to create a good teaching plan to incorporate different learning styles. Um, Another part about being a good leader is also knowing the content they teach. So being able to get that content out to the students and be able to teach it in different ways will be a great benefit for my classroom, and that's one thing I have to practice. Um, Facilitate learning is also another one. Making learning fun, not just keeping it by the books or boring or just reading from a textbook all day. Yes, there's different ways to reach different people, but you also want to make it. You want to make school fun, because if you make it boring, kids are going to zone out of their cell phones, going to zone out, daydream, and you're not going to have that connection with your students like you want. And that's not something that I don't want to have in my classroom. So I want to find fun, interactive ways to present science to my students, and I want them to be able to reflect on the practice. I want them to be able to look back, say, the, when they first begin the class and when they end the class. I want them to feel like they actually learned something, which is actually another characteristic the teacher should have. They should be able to ask their students, for example, I know the course at Catawba, Dr. Calcaney, she's actually made us take an entrance exam when we first start the class, and then we actually take a exam at the end of the class, and it shows us how much a percentage we actually learned in that class, and you'd be surprised. I took an etymology class with her this past semester, and I learned about 25% more knowledge than what I came in the class with, and there's just not a price you can put on that. And the last character I want to cover is just contributing to their academic success. Um, there's probably nothing better feeling for a teacher when they look out, say, 4 to 10 years down the road, and they bump into a student, and knowing that they taught that student and seeing all the success that they've done in their lives. I know I've run into a few teachers of mine, and they're quite happy with where I'm at right now, and actually surprised them. And I just know, you probably don't get a greater sense of satisfaction than seeing that. You can see your work being displayed like that. Um, but enough of that. Like I said, coming to this course, I thought I knew a lot, but there were some things I didn't know about, and one of those is the different school structures. Um, I knew you had like your virtual learnings, like your online classes, your home school, your private school, your public school, but there's two I didn't really know a lot about, and people get them commonly confused because they're kind of the same in a sense, but there's a lot of difference. That's when your magnet schools and your charter schools. Both of them are kind of a STEM-oriented school. They're really big into science and technology, things of that nature. But one is more private and the other one's public and gets public funding, where the other one's more privately funded. Your charter schools or your private schools, and they really look at, say, like one race. I hate to say it like that, but they do. They usually cater to one race, uh, the rich, people like that. Whereas your magnet schools are more open. They're like another enhanced public school, and they're made to get a more diverse population. Um, and upon looking at these, I actually want to send my kid to a magnet school. There's nothing wrong with public school or any of the schools for that matter, but just from the way I learn and the way I'm bringing my kid up and the traits that I'm instilling her, I think she would better benefit in magnet schools. And so I'm going to look around for some that I can send my kid to. Virtual schools are a great alternative for people who lack a way to get to school or have a time-stricken schedule. There's nothing wrong with them. I myself have a hard time doing online classes. It's just hard to motivate me and hard to regularly learn to the same degree that I learn in classrooms. Homeschool, I don't, I don't feel like unless your parents are really well educated, is very beneficial in my opinion. I hate to say it, I'm not putting the school that type of schooling down for any sense. I have a few friends who are homeschooled growing up, but I just don't feel like you get the same degree of education or the diverse education than you would get because you're only getting taught by one person, and let's say that person doesn't do it the right way or you don't get the way they teach you, and you can't relate to them, and so you could be hindering yourself. But at the same time, if they're doing a good job, you could benefit yourself too. It's just a hit or miss. I personally don't feel comfortable doing that way of teaching, and I don't think I'm gonna let my kid do anything like that. Honestly, private schools are more tuition based. They're usually often church affiliated, usually, and me not being a religious person, I don't think I'll be taking that route for my kid. Public schools is also another great option. Hell, I grew up in public schools and all my life, and I mean they have their ups and downs. I mean they teach kids things that parents can't teach them, unfortunately. But some things like that, the kids need to learn. You get to meet a lot of different people in public schools. The only thing about that is some of the teachers are hit or miss, but everywhere you go for the most part, I think, except for more of the magnet school or charter school route. But that's enough about the schools. Another thing we were asked to cover is the social challenges of the American education system and some solutions. I think I'm really going to focus on North Carolina. I think that society has really made it so teachers are not looked at what they are in other countries, because some teachers make what doctors make in other countries, but here in America we don't really look at teachers being a high profession. And but if people were that knew what you got to go through to become a teacher, they would look at it different. I mean, hell, you got to do 4 years of school to get your bachelor's just to be able to to be able to teach at an effective level, I believe. And if you want to go on teaching college level courses, you got to get your doctor's degree. That says a lot about some profession out there. Um, but I feel like that the way society views teaching is one of the biggest problems. Here in North Carolina, for example, teacher pay really hurts a lot here. If they would increase the teacher's pay and salary, I think we'd see a bigger boost of teacher morale. And just for instance, the other week we had Pat McCoy. He arrested 13 teachers that were protesting to speak to him in Raleigh. And I don't think it's a good message across. Because all the teachers want to do is actually discuss ways to help benefit the students of the state, because a lot of them are struggling. And instead of just talking to them, have them arrested. Maybe they didn't go about it the right way. Who knows? But it's just little things like that is causing a lot of problems. And I really believe that the whole education system in North Carolina really needs to be looked at and go back to the drawing board and come up with better ways to get things across, because we're doing piss poor in North Carolina with the education system. And I hate to say that because it's the field I'm going into, but like everyone else, I hope to bring about change in it, whether it be a small little bit or a big little bit, we'll see. But all we can do is rising teachers to give our best and do the best and hope for the best. Um, why is education important? Uh, I mean, education is everything. I don't. I know it sounds very blunt and very broad, but I mean, without education and being taught what we know, we would be mindless and wouldn't know have any logical thought. We wouldn't have any reasoning. I mean, education is the key component of our lives. Um, Whether it be learning how to run a machine to work in a manufacturing plant, or learning how to relate to people to sell business plans or insurance. Education plays a role in everybody's life, and the stronger your education is, the stronger critical thinking becomes, the stronger reasoning becomes, and the stronger person you become. And so, like I said, education is everything. And growing up, I kind of took it for granted. I mean, I was an A/B honor roll student all the way through elementary, middle school. I got to high school and transferred high schools, and went to a new environment. Didn't care about anybody, and dropped to a C average student. Graduated high school and thought I was going to work the rest of my life. I didn't really care about going to college. But it wasn't until I got out there and started working some piss poor jobs that I finally realized that I wasn't happy with where I was in my life, and I wasn't happy with where my life was going. So me and my wife sat down and I told her I wanted to go back to school, and I started going to college, and I haven't looked back. College has become a very key part of my life now, and I really enjoy it. And I'm kind of glad I did things the way I do now because I actually appreciate my what I'm going to school for and what I'm learning. I have found through changing my degrees multiple times what I actually want to do with my life, and I can actually take that and push forward and give it my best. So, um, some things I want to cover real quick, some historical milestones for education, how they can be seen in today's education system. There's a lot that can be said from the things we learned in this course, but I picked 10 out that I really think stick with what we had to go over. In 1867, the Department of Education was created. I mean, hell, without that created, we wouldn't have education here in the Americas probably, especially North America after we founded it. 1867 also financial support was supported for the first time, so financial aid actually came about to help low poverty families attain an education. This is really big because that's still being seen today. Hell, myself, I go to school with some financial aid, so I'm very thankful for that. In 1875, the Civil Rights Act passed banning segregation, and I am very happy for this because I have a lot of friends that if this was still in effect, I wouldn't have to be in school with them, and I wouldn't be getting taught by some of my best professors I ever had because of ignorant rules of segregation. So I'm very happy that got passed. In 1901, Joliet Junior College opened for the first time. It's actually the first community college that opened up here in North America, and sorry, not North America, but the United States. And I started out in community college, so I really feel like that's a big thing that affects us. There's a lot of people who go the community college route. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said myself, I did it, and I'm glad I did because I saved a lot of money that way. 1919, all states have laws providing funds for transporting kids back to school. I don't know about you, but I went to public school, and I rode a public school bus. The gas and mileage and wasn't free. Someone had to pay for that. So that was a very good thing that got passed. 1926, the first SAT was given. Going into college, you have to take a test. You have to find where you place so you can learn to the best of your ability. If you're not on par with everybody else, you need to start on a lower curriculum course to build yourself back up. So this is very prevalent today. In 1944, the GI Bill comes into effect. This is one thing that you might find surprising to you, but the GI Bill actually is pretty big. While I was in community college, I ran into a lot of people who actually was there because of the GI Bill, that and because I got laid off Philip Morris. But that allows our veterans that go and fight for us to come back and able to attain a free education, which is really nice and beneficial because it lets them kind of work themselves back into society. So I really think that's a huge benefit. Here's my favorite one though. 1958, science becomes an important concern in the United States, and that's called the Sputnik, the space race. And I believe science is the most important subject in school that we can teach ourselves because we're learning about the world around us and how everything works. And that's why I want to become a science teacher. So, I mean, without this, hell, I might not have a career I'd be working towards right now. In 1993, Jones Institute University becomes the first online college. This paved the way for online schooling. I wouldn't be doing this class right now if I didn't have the option to do this, taking this online class right now. And in 2001, the No Child Left Behind Act was passed and signed in. This right is very important because I mean it makes sure that no child's left behind and we're all given that chance to get the equal education. So, one thing I thought was pretty interesting was the last thing we talked about was the educational philosophies coming in this class. There was five of them: essentialism, progressivism, perennialism, existentialism, and behaviorism. Essentialism was kind of the basics, kind of like what we all went to school with, learning just the basics. Progressivism was more hands-on, which is more my teaching style. I guess because I'm a scientist and I like to get my hands dirty. Perennialism is the ideas that, as in teaching the ideas that have lasted for a long time, different laws and theories and things of that nature. And I kind of agree with that also. Essentialism was free will learning. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm going to touch bases on this a little bit, but it's kind of catering to a student and what they like, and expanding upon that instead of forcing something on them that they don't really like. That could be good and bad because you could be very closed-minded and create a very closed-minded individual instead of being open-minded. So it could be hit or miss. Behaviorism is is more of a teaching philosophy about the only reality is the physical one. Some people agree with this, some people won't. I I'm not sure where I stand on this one, but I hope you enjoy the speech, and thank you for a great class, and thank you for working with Dr. Ostrich. You have a great day, and thank you for everything. Good night.